In this video, everything you need to know about holidays in Sa Coma. If you haven't booked yet, this is also a great video to see if Sa Coma is actually the right destination for you on Mallorca or not. Also in this video, some easy tips, things to watch out for, but also some ways that will save you loads of money while on holiday. So how is the beach in Sa Coma? Well, there is one main great beach that is ideal for families with young children. Nice white sands and shops and places to get food and drinks or just nearby. If you want to explore and be more adventurous, you might want to have a look in between Coma Majorca and Sa Coma, where there are generally less people and a more private setting. On the other side of the resort, you will also find Sa Beach. It's not really that different than the large main beach, but it has a more Spanish and traditional feel to it, with less hotels and more local bars and restaurants next to it. So what hotels should you book in Sa Coma? Well, this really depends a little bit on what you're looking for. All the hotels you're seeing now on your screen are great value for money. I don't mean cheap, I mean great value for money. So you really get what you paid for. Some of these are budget hotels, some of them are adults only hotels, some of them are a little bit five-star, they are five-star hotels. So it really depends a lot what you're looking for, but all of these offer great value for money, so you get what you paid for. Each time I go to Sa Coma and the rest of Mallorca, I visit loads of hotels to find out what is really going on there, because from my personal experience, in 1 in 3 cases, what you read on the internet really ain't the way it is. So a lot of people ask me for advice here on my channel, and I really want to know, so this is why I visited all these hotels. If you're not sure about is the right hotel for you, or if you want a second opinion on the hotel you've already kind of pre-selected before booking it, then you can always get in contact with me on my website by going to the website, or you can email me on this email address as well. So Sa Coma is actually quite far away from the airport. If you haven't made any arrangements yet for getting to your hotel in Sa Coma, I would definitely advise having a look at this other video of mine. Simply type Sa Coma bus, Sa Coma taxi, or something like this, where I explain all the different options there are from getting from the airport to your resort or your hotel. Taxis, bus, shuttle, rent a car, all of these, and the pros and the cons of all of them, and also with prices and time. So definitely have a look at that video. So in this next part, I want to give you a little bit of a warning. This is not only my own experience, but also other people who follow my channel and who've been traveling and talk to me have been telling me this about Mallorca. These are the most common things that people have like a negative experience with on holiday. So I don't want to sound too negative, but in this part, I want to give you a little bit information about those. First of all, do not go on excursions or day trips offered by flyers you find in the street, or people who randomly contact you on the street. There is always some kind of an unpleasant kind of catch, no matter how good the deal may sound. The most common is that you will have to sit through a long sales presentation for all kinds of random products. This can also be for timeshare, or sometimes you will have a few hours near an overpriced restaurant in the middle of nowhere where there's nothing else to do but spend your money there. On number 2, this is about the illegal sales that are happening on the beaches and in the streets of Mallorca. Since from now on, you yourself can be fined anywhere from 100 to 750 euros if you buy anything from them, or if you take one of the massages, or do the hair braiding, selling fruits or drinks on the beach. Any of these, if you partake in them, you can be fined up to 750 euros. This is a new law since July 2018 to combat these things that have been really getting out of hand and have been getting a lot of complaints by many of the tourists coming to Mallorca. Since finding the people doing so far has proven little successful, now the government has been deciding to do it for both the people buying and the people selling. So be aware, you can get a huge fine if you partake in any of these activities. Number 3, this is about car rental. Most of the time now when you rent the car or you reserve it online for a certain price, the price will go way up, simply because if you arrive in the airport or you go to the car rental offices, the people there, they will try and kind of like confuse you and tell you you need this and this and this, but it's just kind of like practices to get you to buy more things. I covered this in a different video. Also on my website you can find the companies that I use when I'm traveling, so you can have a good and smooth experience without any of these upselling problems. So I just want to quickly repeat, Mallorca is a very nice place. Don't be put off now that you are informed and you know about these things. I'm sure you will have a great holiday in Mallorca. So this next tip is a little bit of a cheeky one, but most of the information out there is basically meant to sell you a specific holiday or a specific hotel or a specific destination. If you want great advice about hundreds of destinations in Spain and also other places, that is advice specifically for you, not to sell you something, but specifically for you to have a great holiday. And don't forget to click the subscribe button so you can find all my videos covering Mallorca, about 100 videos covering Mallorca, and also all these other places even more easy. Sa Coma has a nice selection of restaurants, but there are not that many of them actually, and you might need to look a little bit all over the resort to find exactly what you are looking for, as they are pretty spread out. Food prices actually looked quite fair in this area compared to some of the other areas in Mallorca I have been. This might be because a lot of the restaurants are just in some random places and not directly next to the sea, where prices most often are a little bit higher. If you want some more variety, there are more restaurants on the way to Siot, on the front line of course in Siot as well. So in your hotel, should you be getting all-inclusive, half-board or nothing at all? Well, this depends a lot on what you like on holiday. One thing I do want to say you is that in Mallorca, a lot of the receptions, you can also book the half-board, the all-inclusive or nothing at all. You can book it there as well in the reception. Why would you want to do this? Well, if you book it together with your hotel, you're normally covered for the entire week. But if you want to go, by example, on an excursion, this might not be the best thing. So in the reception you can say, okay, I want Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but Saturday and Sunday I don't want because I want to go on a trip, by example. Also, if you want to eat out one night, you want to try a restaurant like near the beach or something, you can also kind of leave this day open. Also, it's a little bit cheaper. It's about, from my experience and from the things I've been seeing, it's about 20-30% cheaper if you book it in the hotel reception. So keep this in mind. It's up to you if you want half board or all inclusive, but keep in mind all these things might be a good reason to book it in the hotel reception. So when is the right time for you to visit Mallorca? Well, in this next part, a quick guide to when and when not to visit, so you know when to book. And if you've already booked, this is also a great way to know what to expect and how to prepare for it. In the months of January, February and March, these months in Mallorca is very popular with athletes who come to Mallorca to do exercise and to train, as there will be very few people on the island around this time, and therefore there's many empty roads for the cyclists to use. Also, the weather around this time is a bit more mild compared to many other European countries, especially Scandinavian countries. It's also for this reason that a lot of retired people come to Mallorca around this time. The accommodation is cheap, the climate is mild, but do know that a lot of hotels, bars and restaurants around this time are still closed. So April is the first month kind of the year that the weather starts to change a little bit and more hotels, bars and restaurants start to open. This depends a lot on what month and week the Easter holidays fall into. Most of the time this is not really beach or pool weather just yet, but prices outside of the Easter holidays are on the cheaper side and might be worth taking a little risk. Make sure always to bring a sweater and some longer clothing, especially for during the evenings. May is normally one of the first real months for Mallorca. Also, it has the better weather starting to come around, and normally all the hotels have opened at this time, especially when you look more towards the middle of May. The same also counts for all the restaurants, bars and excursions start to open at this time of year. If you are looking for the best weather to spend most of the time on the beach or the pool, then June, July, August and September are indeed the best months for you. Personally, I think that August is a little bit too hot, but that is just me personal, and I think that most people most likely will disagree with me. If you are looking for the best months price quality weather-wise, then September and June are normally ideal for you. October is very much like May, but with the added benefit that the pool and the seawater is already a bit warmer compared to May normally from being after the summer. But do know that the weather is quite unpredictable and it starts to cool down. Especially for the evenings, just to make sure, bring a sweater and some long clothing as you might or may not need it. In November and December, there is not so many people on Mallorca. It's very much like January, February and March. It's mostly people coming here to train and to do sports, and the retired people coming to look for the more quiet and mild climate. So if you're sure that this destination is right for you, know you can get in contact with me on my email address, and there we can figure out together what is the right hotel for you. If you're not sure, then have a look at this video where I explain all the different resorts in Mallorca and you can choose there.